Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Santa Clarita Diet. Season 1, Episode 1 is the first episode. It's a new Netflix show, Netflix original. The episode's called So Then, a Bat or a Monkey? We will start spoiler free, because it's episode 1, and if we go into spoilers later, we'll give you some warning before we do so.
You're getting the hang of saying that we'll start spoiler free on these episode ones.
It's only because we've had 3 pilots in the space of
A
12
day.
hours.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this is also a bit later than normal. Usually, when a Netflix show goes up, we like to have it up a few hours after it goes up. But we
Yeah.
were so backlogged from the last couple of days that we ended up having to push this late into the night. So here we are. So this is a comedy starring Drew Barrymore and Timothy Olyphant, and they are a couple. They've got a daughter, teenager, and she. This is the thing I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a scene in the first episode where we see her get bit by something
Yeah.
or something like that, because she turns into a zombie. But it's not your typical slow moving whatever. It's more of an iZombie esque kind of thing where she's still talking and
Functional. Yeah.
coherent and all the rest of it. And she thinks she just get a bug at first, but she's obviously slowly getting a taste for raw meat and whatever
Yeah.
else.
And of course it escalates because that's inevitable.
Of course it does. And they are realtors. That is their job. They're a husband-wife realtor team. And their daughter's kind of sarky and is very basically Connor feminized. Essentially, is what she is.
I'm not sure if that's an insult or not.
I
I
didn't.
can't tell.
I didn't mean it to be an insult. It's just as I was saying it, I thought, she's basically Connor, but with less ginger and less penis.
Yeah.
It's basically the thing. I mean, no offense to her, certainly. You, I don't mind offending. um, but yeah, so that's kind of the setup, and Nathan Fillion guest stars in this first episode as well. He pops up as a smarmy like rival realtor who maybe
Yeah.
has the hots for Drew Barrymore, and that's kind of the first episode, and it's just kind of her slowly getting more sick and like, oh, what's this? What's going on? And her husband's getting worried, and obviously it's a comedy, so it's wacky
Funny.
and it's
Yeah. It's ridiculous and over the top.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, she throws up an organ at one point.
Yeah. And she throws up a lot.
She throws up a lot. In fact, the episode almost lost me at that scene.
Me too.
There's a scene where she throws up, and it is such a comical amount of vomit that I was like, this is just a bit stupid. And my
Yeah.
cats are running around because they agree with me. They disagree that there's too much vomit. But
The only thing that saved that for me is then it got addressed by how much vomit there was.
what do you mean? Because they kept saying how, that was a lot of vomit?
Yeah, yeah. That kind of salvaged it a little bit.
A little bit. I don't know.
Not entirely though.
It's one of those things like having comical amounts of vomit is a lot like having a lot of fart jokes where I just kind of zone out and go, this is stupid, go away. Because it feels like instead of actually being witty, you're literally throwing something at me
Yeah.
and hoping it'll stick, and it doesn't necessarily work for me. I mean, I guess we just thought, did we like it? It wasn't enjoyable. I don't know. It was okay.
I feel the same.
I'm
where
mixed.
it's like I like parts, other parts I didn't see the vomit, and but overall I'm not sure I can really judge it entirely on this episode though.
Yeah, it's one of these things. We always say how comedies develop as they go, and I think that's the case here as well. It probably will develop, but I think the biggest problem for me in this first episode is I was having a hard time nailing down the tone of what
Yeah,
it was.
it couldn't quite decide, could it?
It was going for like, someone tweeted that as it reminded me a little bit of Brain Dead, and I can kind of see that comparison. But there was also this heftier sort of slapstick side, and then there was this kind of because they've got the neighbours, and there's this joke where both their neighbours on either side are both cops, but they're from different departments, so they heckle each other outside, and
Yeah.
that was fine. But one of the neighbours, their teenage kid, has got a crush on their daughter, and he's like this weirdo nerd who they go to for advice when they think, oh, maybe she's like, this isn't a regular medical problem. We need someone who's weird to give us an opinion.
Yeah,
Which the logic there was a little bit weird for me. It was a bit flawed.
I agree.
But they go to this teenager next door who actually checks her pupils and all that, as if he knows what he's doing. It says,
It's a little notepad.
yeah, he's like, yeah, you're dead, but you're also undead. And that's in the trailer. I'm not spoiling the line there,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, she's a zombie. And I don't know. I get what they're doing, but not having anyone react in a normal way. It's very heightened and not.
Yeah, but it's not quite landing, is it?
It's weird.
I think this is what I mean where I say I can't entirely judge it because I'm not sure it knows what it wants to be in this first episode. But I feel like it might settle into something once it gets to. Once we get all this, what is she all out of the way, and we just go, okay, this is what it is now. Because obviously we've seen from the trailer what the general premise is.
Yeah. Obviously, the trailer indicated that later on, her husband's going to help her like kill bad people so that she's got someone to eat and kind of things. And
we get nothing of that really in this episode.
No, we don't. There's a little bit of good gore towards the end, and as a gore fan, I appreciate that.
Of course,
but
it's almost the opposite of the problem we have with most pilots, where they're usually like really, like, even earlier today we saw a few like they're just rushed.
Yeah, we talked about Purpolis and how that felt a bit.
Yeah,
that was rushed.
Yeah, like just to get to okay, this is the premise by the end of the first episode.
Which is funny because this is like 8-9 minutes longer, so you think, oh, this should solve that problem, but they've went too far in the other direction.
Yeah, they've gone, oh, it's Netflix. People will go straight on to the next one, so we don't need to. And instead, it feels like at the end of the first episode, I still don't know what the show is. Like I only know because of the trailer. Like that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I have to admit, a lot of the jokes, I thought the daughter was kind of amusing. Her, like, trying to get a car, and when she realised her mother was a zombie, like, life's
quite
short.
deadpan.
Yeah, very deadpan. And I enjoy deadpan humour, so that was working well enough for me. But some of the other stuff was a little too, it was trying a little bit too hard. It was going for these things. It was a running gag where Timothy Olyphant's character, Joel, like the husband, he goes to the store to buy like various things, and he keeps running into the same like girl who works there, and like I felt like it was supposed to be a running thing, like a running joke.
The manager says you've been looking at this for a while. It's like
so he keeps acting sort of crazy because he's getting agitated that his wife's sick and being zombified, and the girl's just, and again it's very deadpan, but it doesn't work because I wasn't. I don't know.
I think that's the thing with the daughter's deadpan. You get okay, this is a family dynamic, so they're used to her deadpan. It plays off it well. Whereas with this random girl in the shop, it doesn't play off him very well.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm very mixed on it. I don't think it was outright bad by any means. Vomit scene maybe aside, which kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It was fine. Like it wasn't painful to watch. I could easily see trying the next episode, and we may do a full season thing if we both decide we want to watch the full thing. I'm not going to commit to that because we're so backed up in content right now that I'm not making any promises if we'll do that or if we do when it'll be. But it's harder to judge this.
It is.
But the funny thing is that regular comedy pilots are also hard to judge because they always tend to suck and get better.
They do.
But this doesn't have the same thing. Like, as much as we're saying, once we see the rest of the show and it may get better, it'll be better because it gets to the actual premise and what it is. But it's not the same reason why the other shows get better. The other shows, they're actually making it as we see them, and they actually improve and find their feet. This is different. They wrote all this and shot all this as one essentially.
Yeah, it's all done.
And so that exact complaint isn't quite there, but you've got this other thing where we can take our time getting to what the show is because people will just binge it.
It is this sort of problem we've had with a few Netflix shows, especially the like 13 episode ones where they kind of just take their time too much because they think they can. And obviously this is a comedy, so it's less episodes and it's less length per episode, but it's still got the same core problem there where it feels like it's got this extra time and it suffers on an individual episode to episode basis because of it, I feel.
I think that the funny thing is I don't think it would actually bother me if it was making me laugh constantly. Like, if it was making me laugh constantly, I wouldn't really care. Because it's a comedy, and the pacing's not that important. The only pacing that matters is how often am I laughing, how often am I smiling.
Yeah.
So, the plot being dragged out and maybe not quite being at the premise yet isn't actually a big deal in this case. For a drama, yeah, that's a huge deal. For here, it wouldn't be a big problem if it was making me laugh. But I don't think it was. I was kind of
That's why I think it is a bit of a problem, where I feel like most of the laughs are going to come from the actual premise. and obviously, if we're not there, that's an entire episode
See,
without that.
that worries me though, because for me, a comedy should just be funny because of its characters,
Yeah,
no matter what they're doing. So the idea that it's only going to be funny when they're actually actively doing the killing stuff
yeah.
don't get me wrong, like we say, this could get much better after a few episodes. We might come back. Let us know in the comments, absolutely. If you've been watching more of it, does it get funnier, better? Does it find its footing? Let us know, because we are deeply curious to hear that. But just based on one episode alone, which is, again, a very maybe flawed way of looking at a Netflix show. But at the same time, people will try this first, and if they don't like episode 1, they might not watch episode 2. They'll just say, nah, I'm good. And
Yeah, you've got to be able to hook people on one episode, Netflix or not. Just because the rest of it's there doesn't mean anyone's going to care enough to try it more than once.
they're banking people like you, Connor, who doesn't have the energy to reach for the remote control to stop it from automatically playing the next one. That's what they're banking on.
They really are. And that's no excuse, frankly. There's, your first episode has to be good enough that I want to just let it go on to the second episode. And after this, I don't really. I mean, it's like, maybe I'd watch the second one at some point, but I don't want to watch it right away.
Yeah, because it does end in a kind of a cliffhanger, that it gets kind of, like I said, I mentioned there was gore, it gets kind of violent for the first time at the end of the episode, and I don't know, I felt just kind of detached. Like I wasn't, here it escalates now, I'm excited about this.
Well, that's the thing, even the gore, like, while it was good gore, it wasn't anything funny about the scene.
No, it wasn't. It almost went against the comedy that they were kind of going for.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I don't know. I wonder if Drew Barrymore is kind of a weird casting choice for this, or the way she's playing the roles kind of off.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I get that they're going for the whole it's more like a woman having cravings when she's pregnant, and that's what they kind of play it as.
Yeah.
Like she's got the munchies and she's trying to like satisfy her cravings, but I don't know. It doesn't.
It's not jiving with us that much, is it?
It's not jiving. It's not bad. It's just not like it's not hitting the spot.
Yeah, and for a comedy, that's the end of the road, really. If it's not hitting you and making you laugh, what's the point in it existing for you?
But then again, maybe from episode like 3 onwards, it may be hysterical, and
it happens all the time.
So now let us know in the comments and stuff. I mean, I enjoy seeing Nathan Fillion. Of course, he was fine. He's a friendly face. Obviously, one of the neighbour's wife is played by the waitress from It's Always Sunny.
It's always nice to see
I don't
her.
want to know her name. She's Waitress to me, and she'll always just be Waitress.
Yep.
If you don't watch that show, the running gag is that no one actually knows her name. They just call her the Waitress. So we never find out either as the audience. So that's what I'm calling her as. But no, that's episode 1 of Santa Clarita Diet. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Let us know if it gets better. Like and subscribe and all that stuff helps us out a lot. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.